good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Hugo Quintanilla here with Demystifying Real Estate Commissions, what every seller should know. Thank you all for tuning in. As always, this is your space, 15 to 20 minutes a day to find out a little bit more about real estate and how it fits you and those around you. As always, I am still your realtor, Hugo, with Long and Foster, North Potomac, Rockville. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them on your platform of choice. The QR code in the corner leads you to my website, so feel free and check that out over there. There's a whole bunch of really cool tools like a mortgage calculator, a few different services that you can find under kind of my preferred list of vendors, and just overall some listings if you guys are interested in checking out what's available on the market. Today, like I mentioned earlier, we are demystifying commissions. This is a just brief 10 or so tips that you need to know about commissions and about how they impact you as a seller. So again, if you have any questions or would like further elaboration in these tips, let me know. But this is just kind of basic rules of thumb I would keep in mind when it comes to real estate. Number one, commission structure. Commissions are typically calculated as a percentage of the final sale price of the property, but we will talk a little bit later on about how that can vary. But it can be a percentage from typically 6 to 7%, and then it's divided by both parties, the buying side and the selling side. The selling side negotiates that at the time of setting up a listing. So it's something that you don't have to worry about once it's set up. The buyer usually works with that commission and it helps cover their costs of business. Number two, negotiability. Commission rates are negotiable between the seller and their real estate agent. Really, at that is the point where the commission is the most negotiable after the fact. I'm sorry. Another thing that you have to keep in mind too is that there might be what is known as a variable commission. So ask your realtor or real estate professional about that. A variable commission means that if a selling agent for X, Y, and Z reason finds a buyer, they can actually offer a different commission for that, for working both sides, than otherwise out in the initial listing agreement. That can get a little tricky. So some states like Maryland don't do that, or don't, or frown upon it. They actually would like each side to have their own representation, but it is perfectly legal as long as everyone understands and knows what's happening and signs on the dotted line. So make sure you're paying attention. Number three, standard rates. In the United States, standard commission rates typically range from 5 to 6% of the sales price, with half going to the seller's agent and half to the buyer's agent. I actually quoted a little earlier, 6 to 7%. I remember historically the story about Wes Foster talking about how our agents haven't received a raise in about 30 years and that they are good enough, capable enough, and valuable enough to demand 7% in the market. And many of those agents at that time were, in fact, good enough, skilled enough, and capable enough to earn that. So it really is a testament to where we've come from 7% down to 5%. And each year, with the amount of competition in the number of agents that we've also had, it's also just quite interesting how agents have been able to do more with less. But number four, dual agency. In some cases, a real estate agent may represent both the buyer and seller, which can affect commission arrangements and potential conflicts of interest. We spoke a little bit earlier about someone doing that to get a variable rate commission. It's tricky because remember, the listing side always has representation. Whenever they're listing, they have an agent on their side. It is the buyer and their responsibility to either hire a lawyer, an attorney, real estate agent, or a realtor to work in their favor to advocate for their needs and their best interests and whatever fees there might be. To this point, it is typically being covered by the listing agent negotiating this at the beginning of the agreement. But we have seen a few cases in certain states of there being this push to change that. So, as of this moment, the commission structure is still the same that it always has been. Um, and until further notice, that's really the long and the short of it. Number five, flat services. Some agents offer flat fee services where sellers pay a predetermined amount regardless of the final sales price. This is typically your buyer, I'm sorry, your selling broker that's like a discount broker. All they're going to do is put your information MLS, the multiple list server, and just let it sit there and just let it live there. Now, that's great. That's fine. It gives you a little bit of assurance that, hey, you might have certain amount of people out there seeing it, but really the agent or the agent's representative of the broker is really not doing anything for you other than just typing the stuff in and data entry and correcting and answering phone calls. At sometimes they might not even do that. So it really leaves you the same open exposure if you make a mistake, if you cross the line, if you make something wrong. But that is flat fee service, and they have their place in the market as well. Number six, incentives. Agents may offer incentives such as a reduced commission rate or additional services to attract clients. The reduced commission rate is something that has been varied depending on who you talk to, where agents stand on that. You have, Redfin agents that historically have done anywhere from 4% where they were offering these crazy commissions. But then you also have these situations where now, you have big brokerages being sued over commissions. So, more than anything, make sure that you are speaking to your agent about the incentives that are available to you in your situation, because you also have to keep in mind what your end goal is. There in the past have been incentives to help with buyer costs, seller concessions. Those are all incentives that help buyers get into the market, that really make them feel welcomed to that property. Those are all things that help properties sell faster, sell for higher, and really get the process forward when it comes to real estate. The worst thing that you can have is a property that's still on the market. Everyone sees it, and the history stays there, especially on the MLS. But I digress. Number seven, legal requirements. Real estate committees and practices are subject to state laws and regulations, which can vary widely. And this is a great point. There's been a phenomenal meeting that we had with our leadership at Long and Foster today. Um, Regulators have still to weigh in on a lot of the proposed settlements that have been floated out to the other side when it comes to a lot of these commission lawsuits. So we still have yet to see how this is gonna translate into. And at the end of the day, real estate and realtors abide by state and local laws. It's the way we learned in our original classes. So more than anything else, we are legally bound to do things by the law. And until the law changes, everything is business as usual. Number eight, value of services. Sellers should consider the services provided by their agents when evaluating commission rates, including marketing efforts, negotiation skills, and market expertise. This again varies from agent to agent, and you should interview many agents before you settle. I think the biggest probably disgrace you could do yourself is just settling on the first agent that you meet. I get, hey, you maybe did some research online and maybe you saw some ads, maybe you got some referrals and stuff like that, but interview them, talk to them, see who they are, what they're about, and see if you vibe with them, so to speak. If you feel good with them because more than anything, this is a transaction so few and far between and so sporadic that with a professional that makes you feel comfortable, doesn't intimidate you, but will get the job done in a smooth and procedural manner. Someone that has a process, because the worst thing you can do is really have chaos, especially at such a hectic time as a move. Number nine, payment timing. Commissions are typically paid at the closing of the real estate transaction from the proceeds of the sale. So there's no real upfront money given when it comes to these commissions until the contract is done and everyone has fulfilled, everyone signed on the dotted line, and the check has been cut by the title company at closing. So the proceeds that help pay the commissions are from the seller side. They come out of the seller's proceeds and the seller's profits. So if the real estate agent or the realtor did their job and earned their keep, so to speak, they made profit, and hopefully it doesn't damage their net value. There's still taxes and things like that, it's not the buyer's responsibility that the seller makes money. And we live in a market right now where most sellers are coming out profitable. So all the commissions are paid from that. And it is usually outlined in the final statement, the closing disclosure that is used. That's all done at closing. So, last one for tonight is number 10, transparency. It's important for sellers to fully understand the terms of their commission agreements with their agents, including additional fees or expenses. There are things such as broker fees, processing fees, and things that each brokerage has that might vary, but they are outlined specifically in a contract and should not vary from that. And that's why we have these contracts. That's why we have these forms. And that's why more than ever, I am grateful that I work and specialize in Maryland, where a lot has already been put into place. A lot of the contracts, the forms, the knowledge and the training already been put. It's commonplace since at least 2016. So this is something that's nothing new, and it's business as usual as always has been. Again, for anyone joining us late, we are talking about some of the real estate commission myths and demystifying them, what every seller should know. If you're just joining right now, number one was the commission structure. Commissions are typically calculated as a percentage of the final sale. Negotiability, commissions are negotiable. Number three, standard rates in the United States are anywhere from 5 to 6 per split between the seller and the buyer. Number four, dual agency is when an agent represents both sides. Number five, flat fee services. That's when an agent just represents you for a bare minimum, regardless of what the final price is. They charge a flat rate. Uh, Number six, you could have incentives. Agents can offer incentives or reduced rates to help attract more clients. Number seven, legal requirements. Real estate commission rates and practices are subject to state laws and regulations. Number eight, value of services. Always qualify the expertise of each realtor that you speak with to, ask them, what are you really getting for that commission? Number nine, payment timing is done at closing for the commission rates, typically. And number 10, transparency. It is important to have everything out in writing and out there in the open between you and the selling agent. As always, I can always elaborate more on any one of these topics because any one of these topics is a day all to itself. Believe me, when I was taking classes, it was not enough time to understand the intricacies and the ins and outs of all the certain cases you can have and where you're responsible and what you're responsible for. So, more than anything else, get it in writing, work with a trained professional that knows what they're doing, and work with a realtor. Ask them what their rates are. Don't be afraid to negotiate and interview. There's always more people that you could interview. And qualify between them. This is typical, this is standard of what you get in most cases. So, again, your region might be a little bit different because this will go out nationwide and worldwide, but let me know what you think. Again, I am Hugo Quintanilla, your realtor located in Maryland, licensed with Long and Foster, North Potomac, Rockville, specializing in Montgomery County. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or feedback, my phone number is 240-389-4846. My email is hugo@lnf.com, and my website is yourrealtorhugo.com. It's my pleasure to speak to all of you about stuff like this that's really important, and just to clarify some of the stuff that is really on your minds right now. So I appreciate you guys asking me to do this. It's really a great honor. And again, I hope you all have a great night. Take care.